Elon Musk became the first person in history to lose more than $200 billion in net worth and passed the title of the world's wealthiest person. Meet the new number one, Francis Bernard Arnault. The 73-year-old co-founder and CEO of LVMH, the luxury goods conglomerate standing for iconic brands like Louis Vuitton, Tiffany, and Christian Dior. The French multi-billionaire should not be a stranger to Forbes fans. He's been hanging around the top of the world's wealthiest people rankings for years, even nabbing the top spot from Amazon's Jeff Bezos 2 years ago, before moving aside for Musk. Forbes pegs Arnault's net worth at $191 billion, while Bloomberg offers a humble estimate of $172 billion. Who is Bernard Arnault, and what is the lifestyle of the wealthiest man in the world? Make sure to watch till the end to find out. A talented businessman and owner of a multi-million-dollar corporation, Bernard Arnault was born on March 5, 1949, on the border with Belgium. His father, Jean, was a construction business owner and expected his son to follow in his footsteps. Bernard's grandfather was sure that it was necessary to instill a love for work and entrepreneurship from childhood, so he took his grandson to construction sites from age 7. Arnault studied in Palaiseau at the prestigious École Polytech University. When the boy turned 21, he graduated with an engineering degree. After graduating from high school, Arnault began working with his father. A few years later, he became president of the family-owned construction company Ferré Savenel. Bernard did not want to stop there, so he sold the family business, informing his relatives about the sale only after it was completed. Then, Arnault moved to America to discover new opportunities. In America, Arnault began his entrepreneurial studies. He learned all about the principles and methods of taking over small firms by large corporations. He realized that things were done differently in the United States, and that he had a lot to offer his home country. Returning home, Arnault and his colleague Antoine Bernheim acquired the Boussac Association, which owned the Christian Dior fashion house. The purchase cost the entrepreneurs $80 million. Arnault spent $15 million from his pocket. The fashion world fascinated the entrepreneur, and he wanted to establish a company that would be the first on the list to manufacture and sell various luxury goods. Arnault realized he could not create such a project, so he bought shares in the young company Moet Hennessy Louis Vuitton. In 1990, Arnault already had a 43% stake. Then he fired all top managers and began managing the company independently. According to the entrepreneur, he seized the conglomerate to save it from inevitable division. Bernard Arnault invited new people to the corporation, including a skilled manager, Yves Carcel. Yves stands behind the latest brand promotion policy. The scope of the business expanded, and new branded stores began to appear in the world's largest cities. Arnault's revenues began to increase. Meanwhile, love for the luxurious lifestyle in the 90s became ubiquitous. People who did not have a considerable fortune wanted to feel part of the rich world and purchased goods associated with authority. In the 1990s, the LVMH corporation included the Givenchy and Celine fashion houses, the Tag Heuer watch company, the Sephora perfume retailer, the wine importer Chateau d'Yquem, and many other enterprises. His company has become a natural conglomerate, the individual elements of which consisted of the most elite brands of various luxury goods. The businessman restored the dying brands and brought them to the level of super profitable enterprises. Today, LVMH owns 75 brands. The structure includes fashion houses Kenzo, Dior, Lacroix, Guerlain, Le Bon Marché, Frank et Fils boutiques, and Chateau d'Yquem winery. The entrepreneur made brands of alcoholic beverages known worldwide: Moet and Chandon, Dom Perignon, Krug Champagne, and Hennessy Cognac. But this is just the tip of Arnault's iceberg. The talented entrepreneur owns Philips, a large auction company, Tribune and Investor Media, the Connaissance des Arts magazine dedicated to art, and the Classique radio station. LVMH is also actively investing in Europe at Web, which holds about 60 companies operating on the World Wide Web. How did Bernard Arnault become a world leader in the production and sale of luxury goods? It's simple. In the circumstances of the globalization of the economy, huge funds are needed to support famous brands, but having a whole portfolio of brands in one corporation means costs are significantly reduced. Arnault himself tells the following about his business. One of the key elements of managing a group of companies of this magnitude is decentralization, and for this, you need to select the right team of enthusiastic managers. In an interview, Bernard says that money was never his goal. He is moved by passion. I am endlessly fascinated by creativity and the pursuit of excellence at the highest level. Bernard Arnault says, choose your mentor wisely. Apart from your parents, who was the most important mentor and why? Whom do you admire? The person Bernard Arnault admires the most is Warren Buffett. According to the businessman, Buffett is a guru investor with brilliant ideas that he sticks to. Another famous businessman that Arnault happened to know is Steve Jobs. He admired Jobs' ability to introduce and bring to market a large number of innovative products. Learn from your failures. What is your biggest mistake, and what have you learned from it? Arnault says about patience. Bernard can remember one thing he did wrong. He sold the cosmetics business too early because he was impatient. When you have a business that does not generate income at first, it is important to be patient because it can take years for something to work in this universe of creative brands. Despite that relative failure, Arnault had the opposite experience, such as the Sephora chain of perfumery beauty stores he bought in 1998. At that time, the network had only a few stores. Today, Sephora is the largest distributor of prestigious cosmetics worldwide. In this business, I think the most important thing is to position yourself for the long term and not to be too impatient, which I am by nature, says the billionaire. The entrepreneur was married twice. In his first marriage with Anna Deverin, the boy Antoine and the girl Delphine were born. Today, they are actively involved in the activities of the LVMH Corporation. Bernard's son is on the board of directors and is the CEO of Berluti. Antoine dates Russian model Natalia Vodianova, who gave birth to Bernard Arnault's grandchildren, Maxim and Roman. Delphine is the only woman who occupies a director's chair in a corporation. Bernard's second wife is Canadian pianist Hélène Mercier Arnault. Hélène gave birth to 3 sons, Alexander, Frederick, and Jean. Arnault wants his younger sons to follow in his footsteps and take over his company. The entrepreneur himself does not plan to retire shortly. Bernard Arnault is fond of tennis and horseback riding. He celebrates the holidays in a close circle, treating family and friends to his favorite food. He does not recognize public performances, loves classical music, and plays the piano himself. Arnault also loves painting. He is an art collector. He often holds charity events, spending funds searching for new talents in art and business. Arnault located 200 million euros to restore the burned-out Notre Dame de Paris. With determination, business acumen, and developed intellect, Bernard Arnault became the wealthiest man in the world. But what do you think about Bernard Arnault and his success? Let me know in the comments below. Remember to like, share, and subscribe so you can get an update and enjoy the excellent content I send your way.